client of mine is in her 40s and her husband has male factor due to a previous medical condition. She now has to use a sperm donor because the vials of frozen sperm from her husband are all used up. And she was beating herself up saying, oh, we used 3 of the 5 vials in IUI when I was 42. I can't believe that my doctor suggested IUI and I can't believe I agreed to it. What a waste of sperm. And now I need a sperm donor. I should have known better. And I felt that weight of her words. Oh, I felt that. How many of you have also thought you should have done something differently in your fertility journey based on what you know now? Oh my gosh, I know I do. Knowing what I know now, I would have never needed to spend 5 years having 2 children and, doing 9 egg retrievals and 10 transfers. But this is what I know now. And how does this sound to you? You are where you are today because it's exactly where you are supposed to be. You've probably heard me say that before. But here's the thing. We dream up these perfect lives that would have happened if we just knew something in the past and did something differently in the past. Like, if I just knew the protocols that I know now, I would have never. But I'm here to tell you, but that's all bullshit. We all dream up these perfect lives that we would have had if we knew something in the past or did something differently in the past that typically it was impossible for us back then to know. Like, how could I have avoided 9 egg retrievals and 10 transfers? Sure, after obsessively studying case studies for the last 7 years, like I have, of course I know this stuff. But when I was 33 doing this, that was not available to me. But here's what I'm even if it's something that, I could have known that, in the past, or I've read that, or I could have done that. Here is where I can tell you that you thinking what would have happened would have been so much better and more successful is, fortunately for you, all bullshit. You are making up stories saying that if you did things differently, your life would be better today. That's a story. And if you're so good at making up stories, why not choose to make up a story that doesn't end up in regret and judgment and shame and pain and all these terrible things? And why don't you end it with, I did the most perfect thing I was supposed to do. And I ended up exactly where I am today. Because this is exactly where I am today for the better of my life. Here's an example. I said to my client, okay, if those IUIs worked, would you have thought that it was a mistake doing the IUIs? Well, no, of course, that would have been amazing. Okay. Well, they didn't work. So let's imagine that those IUIs did work, and the baby that came out was your biggest fear, that your baby was ugly. Now, of course, I said that as a joke. Her biggest fear is a genetically abnormal child or a stillborn, or of course. But I say that to my clients to break up the mood, shift their state a little bit, and joke like, no. And I go on. That was the ugliest, that was such an ugly baby that would have come with IUI. You wouldn't believe. You would have been like, this, I don't even want this baby. It's so ugly, right? And I go on and break up the mood. But my point is, it's true. You don't, if it would have worked, if IUI would have worked, you had this perfectly healthy baby with your husband's sperm. Well, that didn't happen. So why didn't that happen? Something better is coming. Something different is happening for you. That's why it didn't happen. Here are ways to live free today. If you're willing to give up your horrible career of storytelling, let me tell you, it's terrible. Put down the pen. If you're willing to do it, here are some ways that you get to live free starting today. Number one, the past that you've created, this amazing past that if you did not do these things or make these mistakes, or if these things didn't happen to you, you would have been in a better place today, is wrong. You are telling yourself lies. Now, you may be saying that because your present is exhausting. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this anymore. I get it. But you're here for a reason. Deal with it. You've dealt with a lot worse. You're like, yeah, that was my past. It was a lot. Okay, you've dealt with a lot worse. You're here today. Your past was for a reason. I'm going to get to that in a second. Don't make up lies. And if you are going to make up lies, make them about something you actually want. Right? Number two, living in the past is painful, it's heavy, and it will keep you down. I want you to think about baggage. We've all heard, oh, she has a lot of baggage, right? Okay, if you have to constantly carry around baggage of all of your regrets or shame or judgment of yourself or things you coulda, woulda, shoulda done differently, how are you ever going to go anywhere with all of this baggage? It's too heavy to carry. Let it go. Let it go. And now, walk. Oh my gosh, you're going to fly. You've been weighed down so long. You are free. You are as light as a feather. Go and fly. And with this new energy, right? We don't need energy carrying all this baggage. We have so much more energy. We have so much more lightness. We have so much more life. Go fly and create something amazing. And the third thing is the old expression, you pay for what you get. All right. So how much did you pay for that education in your past? Ooh, that was expensive. How much did I pay for 9 rounds and 10 transfers, 5 years, me becoming a shell of myself? That was costly of everything, time, money, energy, mental health. Okay, yeah. What did you learn? Ooh. Yeah, okay. That's why it costs so much. In anything that has happened, what I choose to call for me, not to me, for me in my past, and I'm not talking about just my fertility journey. Anything that has happened for me, the bigger the lesson, the harder the lesson, the more I learned, right? The more it cost me, the more I learned. Now, I don't look back on those and go, oh, I'm so glad that happened to me. No, nobody wants pain. Nobody wants terrible things to happen to them. It was very costly. But it only becomes a mistake if you sit there and do nothing with the lessons that you learned. If you say, oh, that was costly. Oh, that was painful. Oh my gosh, that was painful. And you go, and this is what I learned. And this is what I've become. And this is what I can do because of it. This is what it qualified me to do next. Then it will make sense. And it will stop being a mistake. And it will start being a beautifully valuable lesson that has made you the person you are today. There's a great expression God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Now, let me tell you, I must be called because I have been being qualified my whole life. And I know you know what I mean. I know you feel it too. So that makes us pretty special, huh? All right. So this is what I want us to move forward with. We are being qualified for greatness. I say this a lot. We are in an extraordinary journey because we are getting an extraordinary life, because we only want an extraordinary life. Extraordinary. Ordinary is lame. I think of flatlining. I think of death when I think of ordinary. Now you may be saying, you know what, I could take a little ordinary at this point in my fertility journey. I get that. But that's not what we're being called for. All right, my loves. In sum, you get to choose the stories that make up your life. Be a writer of the book that you want to be a part of. Hello, you are the author and you're writing it. If it's a terrible book, stop writing it and start writing another book. And here's a little exercise that you can do. Write down anything in the past that you didn't want to happen. What lessons did you learn from it? And with each of those lessons, what did that lead to? Are you in a better place today because of what those lessons led to? Are you a very different person that can basically handle anything that comes to you because of it? Hell yes. And if you do that exercise with every quote unquote mistake that you feel that you've made, or every quote unquote bad thing that has happened to you, you can start replacing that heavy past with powerful lessons to lead you to a brighter, lighter, freer present and future. Ah, just feel that. It feels so good.